What the heck? All right. Lower this down. Sorry, Joe, I feel like this is still off. Hello. Do you think that's why? All right. I think. Hello, everybody in the yoga world. Just trying to fix my camera here. There we go, I think. All right. Yeah, there we go. Seems good to me. How about you, Bob? Oh, good. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to some 6 p.m. Yin Yoga action. For props, I would go ahead and grab 2 blocks, a blanket. I wouldn't worry about a strap for today's class, but if you wanted to possibly have like a pillow nearby, whether it be like a pillow or a bolster, something to kind of represent that. Like I have my thick pillow that I'm going to use as a bolster over here. So you're more than welcome to grab the 2 blocks, blanket, and some sort of like bolster or pillow. Just waiting for a few more joiners to come on in before we start class. So this is a perfect time if you didn't grab yourself a glass of water, or if you still need to go get your props, you can go ahead and grab them. If you have a dog who likes to come and chill out as you do yoga, and grabbing them too. And so speaking of which, I forgot to go grab my water, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. He'll probably follow me, but if he doesn't, enjoy Mr. Sarge for just a second. Thank you. All right. And so for those who are just joining in, the props that we will need for today's class is blanket, 2 blocks or stacked books if you have stacked books, and you can also grab like some sort of a bolster. A pillow was fine. I've got my thick pillow to kind of use as a bolster if you want more padded support in some of our yin asanas tonight. Nice. I'm going to go ahead and set up some music over here. There we go. And then so for today's yin class, it's going to be mainly focused on the lower spine and working on the inner rotation and the external rotation of our hips. So for the start of our practice, we can go ahead and just kind of set the blocks just to the side. I would grab one just in case. We're going to start our grounding process in just a in a kneeled squat around our knees, but allowing ourselves to have our toes tucked underneath just so that we can stretch through our arch of our foot. And so if you need to, if it's a little comfortable to use your own ankles as a booster here, you could take a block and place it underneath your sitting area. Good. Possibly to a height so that you're not straining your toes, that you do feel supported here. And so if you want to with your blanket, if you feel be more comfortable to place it underneath your knees, you're more than welcome to go ahead and place that as some padding. So get yourself comfortable. And if a block is not as comfortable, you do have pillows at your house if that's more comfortable to place underneath your sitting area. So as we come into this toe squat, we want to allow our spine to be nice and tall here. A little bit of that core engagement, sending the chest up towards the ceiling. So maybe lifting our navel up 2 more inches into that straight spine. And then as you take a deep breath, we're going to inhale, bring our shoulders all the way up towards our ears. And then we're going to exhale, rotate them back. Shoulders are in the girdle. Feeling this very supported posture here. And you go ahead and take your prayer hands into the center, having the thumb knuckles align with your sternum. Bringing your chest forward as you're bringing your elbows back in alignment with the side body. Now allowing yourself to kind of work with the Ujjayi breath here. And if you took my morning class or my classes yesterday, Ujjayi breath is that yogic pranayama that almost sounds like Darth Vader is breathing through his mask. And how Ujjayi breath can benefit us throughout these postures is to help remind us to breathe as we hold these postures for a good few moments at a time. For some extra guidance here, the way that we Ujjayi breath is as we inhale through the nose. And then as we exhale, it's almost like we're clearing our throats here, keeping our mouth closed. So if you've ever been in that situation where you have something to say, but you kind of want to hold your tongue a little bit and you make that noise, that's your Ujjayi breath. And during this strange time that the world is either dealing with, participating in, or just existing in, it's really easy to have so many things to share about it. But sometimes we just need to hold that tongue and use that Ujjayi breath. And so allow this practice to be about you tonight. Focusing inward. 3 more Ujjayi breaths here. Making sure that we keep the spine lifted. Taking your palms up to the side. Take a deep inhale, bringing your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we're going to hinge forward, hands onto the mat. And we're going to very gently bring our knees up. If you have that prop, you go ahead and remove that prop. Good. Flat soles coming into the squat. Or I should say, actually, if you feel like you do need some support, you can actually keep that block with you as we're going into a yogi squat. You can have it at any appropriate height, or maybe having blocks to staff. But go ahead and find that flat feet here. And if it feels better to kind of relax through the toes a little bit, you can kind of bring your heels out and kind of rock them side to side. If you need to reset in your toes, or maybe spread your feet apart or your toes apart and then kind of basketball grip the air. Nice. And then after you find that reset with your toes, we can then refine your yogi squat, either having some support underneath your sitting area for your malasana pose, lifting up through the chest, or maybe a pillow underneath, or possibly allowing yourself to work more inward. So removing the prop, whatever feels the most comfortable for you here. Using that Ujjayi breath to help keep the core engaged. You can either find the stillness into your malasana, or you can have your hands onto your knees and possibly dipping your knees up and down, moving side to side. And you can alternate between stillness or with movement. Using the Ujjayi breath to keep your core engaged. Staying here for 5 more Ujjayi breaths. And with the final breath, inhaling through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Let's go ahead and give our hips a minute to breathe here and to work more with the hamstrings. Very gently start to bring your tailbone up towards the ceiling, keeping the knees bent, and having your stomach aligned onto the thighs here, clasping onto the elbows. Good. Having your chest actively lead its way towards the ground as we're finding length into the spine. The head should be nice and soft. Being able to rock our eye gaze side to side. Pressing the hands into the earth. Maybe our feet just slightly together here. Still finding that lengthen through the spine as we are finding this hip hinge forward fold into this Uttanasana. So you can either have your hands pressing into the mat if you have your blocks. You can have your hands pressing into the blocks. If you wanted to as well, if you have a wall nearby, you can allow your spine to rest onto the wall in your forward fold. You can always move around in your yoga real estate to accommodate what your body is craving, what your body is needing. And every inhale, finding length into the spine. Every exhale, getting a little deeper. Find the quad engagement. Maybe even hooking your fingers onto your big toe to help guide your chest towards the ground and the tailbone towards the sky. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Yeah, then after the 5th breath, take a deep inhale in through the nose and out through the mouth. Very gently bringing your glutes towards your heels here. Good. And then making your seat onto the mat. And as we find our seat into the mat, you can grab your blocks and place them in front of you just in case if we need them. Good. And then from here, we're just going to come into a half butterfly. Good. We're going to go ahead and with our right leg, we're going to extend it out to the side. And then with the left ankle, having it in front of our pelvic area, making sure that our right knee and our right toes are rotated towards the ceiling here. Okay. And you can place a blanket underneath your sitting area for some additional comfort. If you feel that you're very tight in your hamstrings, you can instead kind of roll the blanket up a little bit or possibly grab a small cushion if you have it. And you can allow your joint to be supported here. Make sure the right heel is flexed. Eye gaze forward, taking your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring our arms all the way onto the ground, making sure that our tailbone is still rooted. So if you feel like you need some assistance with some blocks, if you are having trouble hip hinging, or if we're just really tight into our spine, we can use the blocks for a source of grounding as we press our hands into the blocks. And you can allow your head to go soft here, maybe chin the chest. So that same principle with every inhale. We're going to find that length into the spine. We want to keep our tailbone rooted towards the ground and onto the ground. And we want to bring our chest forward, straightening out through the spine so your arms can be extended, maybe even the forearms onto the ground, hands pressing in as you scrub your chest forward. Find that length throughout the spine. You can also use a block as a pillow, some nice support for your spine. This is also a good time if you have your pillow or your bolster to allow yourself to rest on top of it as you hinge here. But from here, you can go ahead and count to 5 final breaths. Taking the final breath, inhaling through the nose and out through the mouth. Very slowly start to straighten out through the spine. Good. And then you can go ahead and take that right leg forward. And then with the left leg, we are going to come into half Gomukhasana leg. So we're going to have the knees pretty much lined on top of each other. If you feel like you have like a lot of space or you feel really tight underneath the hip, if you want to, you can squeeze in like a little cushion underneath that feels better, or possibly some cushion in between your limbs if you would like some more comfort here. Good. So having your hands interlaced, cupped around your knee, rotate your shoulders and inhale, extend your spine up towards the ceiling and just staying here for 5 breaths. Building that length in through the spine. And then after the 5 breaths, inhale, bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Then we're going to reach forward with our chest and our arms until we can possibly grab onto our foot, onto our shin, or maybe just having our forearms, the back of our hands, just very gently touching the ground, being relaxed. Guiding your chest forward. And you can also, if you have like a pillow or bolster, you can also place it on top of your thigh here. And just hip hinge here to make it more restorative. Gets dangerous the more restorative you make your postures. It just, you can get real lost in how amazing it feels. So a good dangerous. So if you wanted to have that additional comfort, you can go ahead and add that here. for here, we're just going to take 5 more breaths. We're not going to stay here too long. Now with that Ujjayi breath. And then having the cleansing breath for the last one, inhaling through the nose and out the mouth. Very slowly come up from that forward fold. Good. Move the props. And we can go ahead and straighten out both legs. Just kind of do like a little windshield wipe here, or maybe some little knee pedalings. Anything to just kind of restore yourself, reset yourself here. If you even wanted to bend your knees, a little windshield wipe. And then we're going to take it to the opposite side. So we're going to have that half butterfly. Good. With the right leg in, and this time the left leg extended out. And then as a reminder, if you are very tight in your hamstrings and you need some little knee support, instead of sitting on your blanket, you can roll a little blanket burrito, put it underneath your joint, or if you have like a very small cushion, you could place it there too. Either have your blocks out in front in case you need them for your hands, your head, or a bolster to fill in the space. As soon as you get your props ready, you can go ahead and inhale, bring your arms up towards the ceiling, rooting through the tailbone. And then as we inhale, rise, we're going to exhale, reach, and hinge forward until your hand makes it either onto the blocks, onto the floor is perfectly fine as well. Even the forearms, if that's groovy for you. If you start to feel that left hip rising up or the knees going inwards, just rotate it out and kind of lay off the forward fold a little bit. Reminder that you can use a block for some spinal support. You can either have your hands pressing into the ground or being more restorative. You can just have the back of your forearms onto the mat or the floor here. It's whatever feels the best for you. Even if you want to grab your pillow and hinge forward. Okay, just making sure that the knee and the foot are still rotated up and that the hip is onto the ground. And then from here, you can go ahead and start to count down to your 5 final breaths, nice and slow. And with the final breath, inhaling through the nose, and then exhale through the mouth. You slowly start to lift yourself up. And we're going to swing that left leg forward. And placing the right knee on top of the left knee and having the left foot forward here. So prop up if you need to, cushion under the hip, a blanket possibly in between your legs if that's more comfortable for you. And then as soon as you find that comfortable spot here, you're gonna go ahead, clasp your hands and take your hands onto the knee, rotate the shoulders back and lift it through the chest. And we're gonna do 5 breaths of a straight spine. Rooting the heels to the ground. Guiding that knee a little closer towards your body, pulsing up the space between your legs. On the final breath, inhale, rise, arms up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, hip hinge, forward fold, grabbing on to the foot, the shin, or maybe the hands are going to be nice and soft. As we find this hip hinge, forward fold. And you're also more than welcome to prop up any way that you'd like. I personally, in this pose, I love having a bolster or like a pillow on top just to kind of relax and hinge in. I'm going to go ahead and count your 5 final breaths. Inhale through the nose and out the mouth. slowly rise, remove any of your props, and then bring the right leg to meet the left and go ahead and just do like little windshield wipes maybe with the legs, possibly bending with the knees here. Maybe sliding your heels, just anything to kind of go ahead and reset yourself. And we can go ahead and find yourself onto your hands and knees. Good. So having the blanket underneath your knees, you can bring blocks up front here. If you would like, we're going to come into a heart melting pose or extended puppy pose. So you can have your hips above your knees here, sending your tailbone up and bringing your stomach towards the ground. And so if you would like to, I know I have so many props here, but if you would like to work more with your shoulders, you can place your blocks underneath your forearms. Ready to get every knee is either hip length apart or together, whatever feels the best for you. And you can always move in or out of your props if you would not like to use them for your extended puppy pose. Go ahead and take your 5 final breaths here. Final breath, inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Send the tailbone back, coming into child's pose. Good. And then from here, taking your final breath, inhaling through the nose and out the mouth. You very slowly come forward, bring your stomach to the ground, elbows underneath your stomach, or I should say elbows underneath your shoulders, pressing your hands into the earth and coming into your Sphinx pose, so guiding your chest forward and shoulders away from the ears, pelvic into the ground. But we're not going to stay here for too long. And so as you are here in your Sphinx pose, you can bring your neck side to side. Or maybe ear to shoulder. Nice and gentle, finding little micro movements from your neck. Maybe even bring your chin to chest. Or even the nose up towards the ceiling. Stay here for 5 more breaths. By taking your hands towards the corners of the mat, spreading your arms apart, inhale, lifting up your chest into seal pose, so sending your chest forward, creating an arc to the front side body. Pressing your feet into the mat. 5 breaths. Final breath, inhale through the nose and out the mouth. Go ahead and place your hands underneath your shoulders here. Curl the toes. And I'm going to inhale, rise, coming up into a tabletop position. Swinging your hips side to side here. Good. 3 sets of cat-cow. We're going to go ahead and swing the feet forward. I'm making our way onto our spine here. Good. And you can remove the blanket at this time. Good. Actually, with the blanket, we can actually bring it towards the top of the mat here. Good. And if you have your 2 blocks, you can have your blocks to stack. We're going to come into a plow pose. And with our plow pose, we're going to have our feet touch on top of the blocks. So this may need some rearranging and whatnot with your props. But having the blanket so that it is supporting your shoulders here. Circle. is to bring our toes on top of these blocks for some guided support. And from here, you can hug your knees in towards your chest. Press your hands into the earth. Bring your feet up into inverted staff pose. Pressing your hips up and taking your hands underneath, supporting your hips. Good. As we bring your spine towards the ceiling, we're going to go ahead and start to hinge at the hips, curling the toes, and trying to find the top of the blocks here. And from here, this is going to probably require just a little bit of shifting until we can find that distance. Good. So it might be beneficial to have yourself come into your initial plow pose, finding the blocks. Good. So the blocks stacked, it makes it a little easier for you to ground your feet, having your hips up towards the ceiling here, supporting your lower spine. You can have your hands onto your lower spine, onto your hips. You can even grab onto the outer edges of your mat to help assist your hips up. I'm going to count to 10 breaths. Legs are straight. Extending through the neck so that we're not blocking our airway. So shoulders still away from the ears. Now with the 10th breath, taking a deep inhale in through the nose and out through the mouth. Very gently lift the left leg, right leg up. Good. And then very slowly, vertebra by vertebra, bringing your hips onto the mat here. Grabbing onto the feet, tailbone towards the ground. Inverted Paschimottanasana. And we can go ahead, bend the feet, placing the feet onto the ground, roll windshield wipe side to side. Coming into cattail, straightening out your left leg, right knee up in towards your chest, right arm to the T. We're going to tuck the left hip under, bring the right knee towards the left side of the room. So if you need to block up and place a block underneath your knee, you can go ahead and do so at any appropriate height. Good. And then the right foot is going to navigate its way, or the left foot, I should say, is going to navigate its way towards the right hip crease, and you can grab onto your left foot here. Eye gaze over the right shoulders. So it's definitely good to have your shoulders supported onto the mat here. So if your shoulders aren't connecting, you just got to lay out the twist a little bit. You're not going to stay here for terribly long. So go ahead and count to 10 breaths. And final breath, inhale through the nose, out the mouth. You're slowly let go of the left leg. Gently make your way onto your spine. Re-square the hips. Hands on to the mat, heels close to your glutes. Inhale, come into a bridge pose for 3 breaths. And then release. Bending the left knee in towards your chest. Straighten out the right leg. Go ahead, tuck the right hip underneath, twist. Left knee towards the right side of the room. And the right foot towards the left hip. You can grab onto the right foot here. If you need to put a prop underneath the left knee, you can go ahead and do so, but make sure that your shoulder makes some contact to the mat here. 10 breaths. And the final breath. Inhale through the nose. Out the mouth. And you very gently make your way onto your spine here. You can bend at the knees, a little windshield wipe, very soft. Hands onto the mat. Bring your heels in, shoulders underneath. Inhale, come up into your bridge pose. 3 breaths. And then slowly release. Inhale, bringing your arms above your head. Pointing your toes to the front of the mat. Taking a deep inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Take these next few moments here in your Shavasana. And then as we lie here in Shavasana, just picked a very sweet quote that's by Aristotle, that the energy of the mind is the essence of life. So as we begin to bring this life into our practice, we can roll out the ankles and the wrists, the fingers, the toes, stretching your arms up above your head. Very gently bringing the knees in towards your chest, taking a deep inhale in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can guide your knees either to the left or to the right side. You can choose to stay onto your side here or in your Shavasana, or you can come up into a comfortable seated position. And then you can go ahead and take your final breath here, bringing your arms to your sides and taking a deep inhale, one huge sun breath. Your palms all the way up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, bring the palms into the heart center. Giving yourself and your family neighbors some gratitude for sharing this virtual space to create space within ourselves. And then as we wish peace and health throughout the rest of the night. And namaste. Well, thank you all very much for attending the 6 p.m. Yin class. You are more than welcome to join the 7 p.m. class if you would like a little more action into your night, but is still our slow flow class. And then if I don't see you, thank you very much for attending, and I'll see you in a couple minutes. Bye.